Now, I want to talk about I'm Frankelda, the first sort of stop motion animated project from Mexico. I mean, sort of, and been quite a few animated claymation projects from Mexico, but usually they sort of like 2 3 minute shorts, and that's it. This is sort of the first kind of movie made of stop motion. And this is sort of a big deal because it's sort of hard to actually do, especially if this sort of in Latin America or this specifically Mexico. If you have followed me or see some of my reviews, somehow, some way, I kind of do reference that Latin America or Pacific Mexico kind of struggle to make animated projects, even that the country itself inside his culture is accepting of animation. They adhere it, they love it. We breathe to it, but we don't really promote our own animated projects. We prefer to adapt or buy other projects outside our own country. The reason why is because it's cheaper, and it's because we don't really want to risk making projects about animated series. It's because it just doesn't work. I guess because every time they do, it's very low maintenance. It's feel they trying to do something great, is that they don't have the budget to experiment. If it is successful, it takes a little while to be good. In other words, the past 4 years, you have seen probably 4 or 5 projects from Mexico will be Villainous, Rey Mysterio versus Evil, and Frankelda book of spooks or something like that. That's the title, and another one called Aztec Batman. All of them were sort of experimental. We don't know how fully successful. Even that Black Cat and also Rey Mysterio and also Frankelda was always trending on HBO Max in Mexico multiple times, but yet they never really fully greenlit a season 2 or do anything other shows, but yet still nothing. So I'm guessing was sort of maybe failure of the competence of the studio who were pushing this but never really giving the full budget when they need to make something great. And this is sort of the issue of many other projects in Mexico, specifically animation. But Frankelda is sort of different because you made me heard me talking about it because I did talk about the TV series. Now, you need to see the TV series to get the movie. No, it's the opposite. In fact, I'm Frankelda is sort of a prequel series for the original series that you don't need to watch. In fact, some fans did post that it's better to not know about the series to get the best viewing of this movie because it is good. Of course, what is the TV series? What is the movie? What's the whole concept of this? Now, before I continue on, my name is Recho. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, the reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, or sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, like to help my channel, put a like, comment, and subscribe. That's the only thing you need to do. If not, that's fine. We do. Thank you. Because of you, I'm getting close to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And yes, I'm getting close every single day because of people like you. People put like, comment, and share. Thank you. Now let's sort of break down or make this sort of conversation of I'm Frankelda. Now let's get started. Now for right now, everybody who watched Frankelda, every single review I found on TikTok, YouTube, even Rotten Tomatoes, everybody just giving 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 because they are fully enjoyment. And also the stop motion movie is incredible how they move. In fact, I've seen some clips. I'm not yet fully seen the movie because it's sort of exclusive from Mexico. Later on they probably show it on HBO Max, at least hopefully till they change the name or someone bought the studio, because it's on that process right now. On 2005 and 2006 we're gonna see where that movies were dropped of Pacific streaming service, so just keep that in mind watching this video. But other than that, what is Frankelda? Now the TV series, just to understand, is the fact it's sort of an anthology. Each episode, a total of 5 episodes in 15 minutes. Each episode follow Frankelda telling a story for a child to see why they should be brave, why to be honest, but almost horrific way to scare you but get the idea what I'm trying to say. And this only lasts for 5 episodes, 5 different monsters, 5 different episodes. But the whole miniseries does lead you something interesting and wanting more is because of Frankelda herself, how she tells the stories, how is something behind her, but she's not really to tell you what actually going on. It leads you sort of breadcrumbs trying to understand why she like this, why she's sort of aware, scared, telling stories, even that she likes it, even that her beloved book, who is actually a creature, used to be sort of human, got cursed to be a book. We just honestly don't know. Till the very end, they show you a twist that Frankelda is sort of cursed to be this sort of a movable spider castle house that trying to lock up Spotilda in this book. In fact, they do go a huge chunk of the story of the very end, the last episode. If you want to see the full story, watch the final episode of Spotilda series. And the whole story of her is that she's sort of a 1800s woman who wants to become a author, specifically a spooky story author. But because it's 1800s, and on top of that, she's a woman, she's expected to do womanly things, not get a job, only get pregnant, only stay in the house, in that her aunt, her friends, her co-workers, even single publisher she goes to try to publish her book rejects her. Even that she has the most talented how to write a good horror story, but there's only one person who believes on her talent, and that be the Owl Prince. This prince kind of sees her life when she sort of growing. He sort of interrupted a couple of times to give her confidence, and little by little kind of fall in love with her and trying to convince her your talent is precious. Do not let go of your dreams. But I love it even more. It leaves some doubts of why this prince is obsessed with her. Even that he's the one who made her a ghost. Even that he begs her to go with her in the monster universe. But after that, the whole miniseries cuts to the very end, seeing her stuck this sort of movie cancel and her prince becoming a book. We don't really have answers, just sort of speculations, wondering what actually happened and why she's stuck here. It just leaves you on to ponder till the prequel movie reappears, answering that question. Now, you have the idea what is the movie is about. It's what happened in a monster island. Why the people, you could say, portrayed her. This is the point you should drop this video if you don't want any spoilers, at least convince you to watch the miniseries on HBO Max. Of course, I said at the very beginning, you don't need to watch the series to enjoy the movie. In fact, many people point out, please do not watch the series, watch the movie blindly. But the only problem is, if you're American or do not live in Mexico, you don't have the option to watch the movie, just the TV series. But if I highly convince you to watch the TV series and also wait for the movie finally gets translated and trying to sell it on digital, at least give you that hope to basically buy it before it actually is out, in other words. But other than that, what is the main plot points in the movie? Now, you never heard of the theory of which came first, the chicken and the egg. Which one, the egg or the chicken? And that's sort of the plot point of the whole movie. Because when Frankelda finally came to Monster Island or Monster Universe, everybody's sort of arguing about how to scare the people, because there's sort of a kind of situation they can get out of. Because if they don't scare off the people, they don't exist. But the only problem is they're sort of creatively empty. Like, they have no idea how to scare people. They just sort of come out a blank after blank. But someone had a sort of a very interesting idea. Why not go to the dream world and take all the nightmares from the people? And this is sort of the theory came out. who created who, the egg or the chicken. And this is the issue. The reason why it exists is because the people are scared of them. Their sort of fears, their phobias, how they became what they look like, monsters, because the people believed of them and their own fear feel them to exist. But the only problem is they exist but don't know how to scare. And that's sort of the struggle. And they're trying to figure out what is the best route to take this. This is the reason why the prince bring Spookzilla to show how to be scary. But the only problem is all the monsters feel portrayed. In fact, the whole movie is a musical, a really good one, and they all sing one specific theme. Basically, the good chunk of the movie that be portrayal, the portrayal of the monsters, portrayal of the king and prince, what they're trying to do, and Spookzilla sort of portrayal of the prince that lied to her to help her to fix the monster island using her talent. That's sort of the whole theme of the whole film. And believe me, the clips, videos I seen on TikTok blew me away, especially the musical sort of element, the imagination, the creativity, the argument. This is feels 3 movies patched together, done correctly. Be basically Beauty and the Beast, A Monster Incorporated, Nightmare Before Christmas. In fact, this could be the next Nightmare spiritual sequel of Tim Burton's movie. This could be a huge hit. Now, there is one major problem to breaking this sort of hopefully successful franchise or movie, is that if Mexican people willing to go in the theaters. And the answer is yes, they really are. Believe it or not, Mexican people are very lovingly going to theaters. They're probably the only few countries that did not stagnate of people not going to films. They actually go every single weekend. Well, failure in other words. But the only problem is one of the biggest weakness in Mexico cinema is the fact we are not creative bankrupt. We do not create projects. And this is the reason why I said at the very beginning, it's sort of the struggle. This is a lot of people say we should not give so much pressure of Spookzilla. I don't think that's sort of unfair. These echo on Tumblr / Twitter / every single website. A lot of Mexican people are scared this will sort of fail. Even this movie is legitimately good. Even that there have been posts saying this movie day one will earn between 10 to 15 million dollars the first day. That good and bad in a way? Yes, at least to Mexico, because if you earn around 10 to 12 million, that's not a bad thing. It seems bad, but day one, that's pretty good. It's the question is, can keep it up with that sort of 10 to 12 or 15 million each single day, because at the end of the weekend it should earn about 30 million or 40 million. That is still good, but someone did point out this is stop motion, and stop motion is a little bit more expensive. Like, for example, animation, a cheap one, you can do a decent anime project around $10 million, but you only have 1 or 2 tries and that's it. This is why you have huge budgets, to make sure you have the best movie and the best positive reception of people. If you only have 10 millions, hopefully the first and second try would be good enough. This is why every time you see a cheap movie, the pacing or the writing or the performance feels kind of not right. You feel needed one more try, rewriting the whole thing or editing out some things to make it fluent. That's usually the problem to make that type of projects. But at the same time, this is stop motion, and stop motion is a little bit more expensive. I mean, you can make a decent cheap one if you have the right idea and someone really have experience of stop motion. You could probably break it, or at least cheap enough, about 20 to 25 million or maybe 30. So this is the reason why I'm sort of excited it could actually make it. If this is successful, people are liking it and has a good enough money to receive how much money they spent, not even counting the sort of commercials they spending out. This could be opening a door situation, because if Frankelda is successful, more projects will come out in Mexico with decent budgets and different confidence. This movie could, in theory, change the game of animation in Mexico. It just needs to be successful, or like always, like bad luck, the company screw itself over because company politics, buyout, new changes, new leaders decided, well, it is semi-successful but not successful enough, and they cancel it, like so many animated projects in Mexico who have the chance to change animation history in Mexico and just screw over by their own people because of politics. Hopefully this is successful. Hopefully I convince you, maybe watch this Booktella TV series to help you up when next year they decide to drop the movie on HBO Max or digital, so you can buy it and prove a lot of people want this, especially if you like sort of kind of like Tim Burton, or Tim Burton sort of Nightmare Before Christmas, or anything Tim Burton claymation. If you like all Tim Burton, or also the Toro sort of Pinocchio claymation, if you like those kind of areas, sort of 1800s sort of medieval kind of beautiful art, horror but pureness, you will love this film. Or if not, just watch this TV series to try what you like. Be warned, it is a sort of anthology series with the musical, and the music does not fail. It's basically 8 out of 10. You will love it. There's a small chance you start humming or singing the song after watching the series and hyping up yourself when they finally drop the movie. That's all I can say for now. Hopefully it's a success. But what is your opinion? Are you excited? Have you seen it? Or you just waiting they drop it on digital? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.